question that I got asked was how to revolve something in 3D. So we've looked at 3D before. So I know that I can, say, draw a building here. And I'll give it no stroke. And I can make it 3D. And I'll go into my other view, 2 views horizontal, and view it from the top so that I can duplicate it and put it sideways, put it back, make a bunch of these copies, and essentially build up this cityscape. Now let's say I want to look like we're in a car that's driving around that city looking back into the city. Well, I can create a camera, and in this case it might be easier to create a 2-node camera. 2-node camera means that the target of the camera is separate to the camera itself. That means I can put the target of the camera in the middle and animate the camera around the city. But even that's going to be difficult to animate. So if I keyframe position and I go to 3 seconds and move the camera over here, it goes in a straight line. So I'll need to then adjust that curve so that it's going around, which I'm never going to get perfectly if I want a perfect, like, constant revolution. So the best way to do that is I'll still create a single node camera, but I'll create a null and I'll put it in the middle so it looks like it's in 3D, but it's actually not a 3D layer yet. So I'll turn it into 3D and it turns into a flat object because that's what all 3D objects are in After Effects. I'll put that in the middle and I'll parent my camera to the null. And now all I need to do to rotate the camera is rotate the null. And that's right in the middle of the city. Now, if I don't want to rotate the camera, if I've got other 3D objects in the scene, then maybe I don't parent the camera to the null. Maybe I parent the whole city to the null. And I rotate the null again, and the city rotates, but the camera doesn't move. Now, the last thing I want to do is notice as this rotates, each of these gets thinner and thinner because they're paper thin. So as we see it from the side, they get invisible. I can select a layer and go to right click and go to transform, auto orient, orient towards camera, and click OK. And now, no matter which direction this null rotates, this building will always face the camera. So if I set it to all of these the same, auto orient, orient towards camera, then no matter which direction the null rotates, and it's best viewed in here first, they'll turn to face the camera. But then if we look on the right, we see it's still got that 3D-like effect, but it keeps everything nice and big for us. Sometimes 3D can be a bit of overkill. So the other question that Nick had was, I'll go back to one view. He had a light bulb. with a bit of shine on it. Okay, so the question was, I want to revolve around this. It's kind of like our last example. I want the camera to rotate around this. The first thing we have to think about is why. Because if I rotate the camera around this the same way as that last example, it's going to look exactly the same from every angle, right? Because it's symmetrical. So I do want it to look like it's rotating though. So how do I do that when this is completely symmetrical, apart from the fact that I've drawn it really badly? Well, the only things we have to make it look like it's rotating are this shine and this vertical line here. So the first thing I might do is I could turn that line into 3D. So with that line, I will do 3D, and I'll do a similar thing to before. And it's actually already got an anchor point that's roughly in the middle, so I could just rotate it, I think. Right, so it's already going around the anchor point, so it's already helping me somewhat. I might actually move the graphic a bit further out to here. And now if I rotate it, it goes all the way around like this, which isn't quite what I want. Let me turn off these handles so we can see it a bit better. Which isn't quite what I want because it gets paper thin in the middle, whereas it should actually get paper thin on the sides and be thick in the middle. In which case, it's probably not the best idea to go with 3D in After Effects in this instance. So let's undo 3D. And it's probably much quicker to just animate it by hand. So I'll go into the path options and I'll say, now I need those back on. Okay. And I'll say, okay, I want it here. From there to there. In the middle, I want it to be thick. So I'll go to stroke and I'll keyframe the stroke width. On the edge, I want it to be thin. On the other edge, I want it to be thin. And that's one revolution, right? I'll ease that middle one so it's a bit more realistic. And then I just repeat that. So I'll copy those keyframes, go one keyframe over, one keyframe over, one keyframe over, and I'll make it a bit faster. Right, so that's one aspect of it. Now, with this up here, I want to do the same thing. So it's still just a stroke. Let's open that up, keyframe the path, and make it go from here to here. And you can obviously refine this as much as you need to. But sometimes doing actual 3D isn't what you need. Sometimes you just need to fake it. Any other questions?